learning his habits, his shortcuts, his mistakes. Today, Tycho decides things are going to change. Tycho scurries out from his hideout, his tiny feet barely making a sound on the damp earth. He knows Zorro's morning patrol route by heart. The first stop is always the Crystal Falls, where the water is. Tycho has a plan, a series of small, clever challenges designed to test not Zorro's strength, but his pride. He reaches the falls first and finds a long, sturdy vine hanging over the main pool. With a bit of effort, he ties a large, shiny leaf to the end of it, positioning it just out of reach from the water's edge. Soon Zorro arrives, his golden eyes scanning the familiar scene. He lowers his head to drink, but then he spots the shimmering leaf, dancing in the breeze, mocking him. It's an imperfection in his perfect kingdom. Zorro crouches, his tail twitching. A tiny giggle echoes from the bushes, but when Zorro looks, there's nothing there. A flicker of annoyance crosses his face. He shakes the water from his fur and continues his patrol, a little less composed than before. View. Meanwhile, Tycho is already on his way to the next location. The Great Banyan, a massive tree whose roots create a maze-like labyrinth. This is Zorro's favorite spot for a midday nap, a place of total silence and security. Tycho, using his small size to his advantage, zips through the root tunnels. He gathers a collection of smooth, round pebbles and places them strategically along Zorro's usual path. He doesn't create a barrier, but a nuisance. When Zorro arrives, ready for his rest, his heavy paws land on the rolling stones. He stumbles, catching his balance just in time, but the quiet of his sanctuary is broken. He growls, a low rumble of frustration. He pads around the area, looking for the source of the disturbance, but the pebbles are just pebbles, and the forest is still. He settles down, but his sleep is not as peaceful. His ears twitch at every sound, his reign of absolute control feeling slightly less absolute. For his final trick of the day, Tycho heads to the Sunstone Peak, a rocky outcrop where Zorro likes to watch the sunset, a king surveying his domain. Tycho has spent the last few days collecting the stickiest sap from the gum trees and the lightest, fluffiest seeds from the milkweed plants. He carefully smears the sap on the flat surface of the rock where Zorro always sits. Then, he releases the seeds into the wind, letting them drift down and stick to the sap, creating a soft, white blanket. When Zorro reaches the peak, he sees the strange white patch on his stone throne. He sniffs it cautiously. It seems harmless. He sits down, his powerful body sinking into the fluffy trap. When he tries to stand up, he finds his sleek fur is covered in sticky, white fluff. He tries to lick it off, but it only gets worse. He tries to roll on the ground, but more leaves and twigs stick to him. He looks less like a fearsome ruler and more like a giant, grumpy cotton ball. From a crack in the rocks, Tycho watches, trying his best not to burst out laughing. Zorro, defeated and utterly humiliated, storms back towards his den. He's wet, clumsy, and covered in fluff. For the first time, the other animals don't freeze in fear. A monkey points and chatters. A parrot squawks in amusement. Zorro's reputation is unraveling. As he passes the cluster of roots near Crystal Falls, a small voice calls out, "Who could pounce?" But he's tired and, for the first time, curious. "You," Zorro growls. "This was you." Tycho nods, his expression serious now. "The jungle doesn't belong to you, Zorro. It belongs to all of us. Fear doesn't make a king." Zorro looks at his reflection in a Padula mess of sap and seeds. He sees not a ruler, but a fool. Here, lets out a long sigh, the anger draining away, replaced by a strange sense of respect. The next morning, the jungle wakes to a different kind of quiet. It's not the silence of fear, but of peace. Zorro walks his path, but he's slower, more observant. he notices the small flowers he used to crush underfoot, sees the families of squirrels he used to scatter. Good morning. Tycho chirps. Zorro inclines his head. Good morning, Tycho. From that day on, an unlikely friendship blossomed. Zorro, with his strength and knowledge of the jungle's dangers, became its protector. Tycho, with his sharp mind and understanding of the smaller creatures, became its advisor. They ruled together, not through fear, but through a partnership of might and mind. The powerful cat learned that true strength wasn't about dominance, but about lifting others up. And the tiny mouse showed everyone that courage and intelligence were mightier than any claw or tooth. The jungle was no longer ruled by one. It was cared for by all, a lesson that echoed through the trees for generations to come. Thanks for watching our story today. We hope you enjoyed the tale of Zorro and Tycho. What was your favorite part of their adventure? Let us know in the comments below. If you loved this story and want to see more, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We have so many more tailies from magical lands and incredible characters to share with you. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring. Zorro stops. The jungle, a moment ago a symphony of life, seems to hold its breath with him. His movements are slow, deliberate, each muscle tensing with a predator's instinct. And then he sees it. A tiny mouse, Tycho, frozen in a sliver of sunlight, piercing the dense canopy. Zorro's eyes, sharp and golden, lock on to the minuscule creature. A low chuckle rumbles in his chest, a sound of pure amusement. He can't believe the audacity of this little thing, daring to show itself in his territory, in his presence. It's almost an insult, but a funny one. With emotions so smooth it's like water flowing over stone, Zorro lunges at a move of perfect, lethal grace. Honed by 1,000 hunts, he expects the satisfying crunch, the end of this brief interruption. But his expectation meets empty air. Tycho is gone. The mouse darts away with impossible speed, a brown blur sliding under the gnarled roots of an ancient tree. He bounces off a mossy stone like a pinball, then zigzags through the tall blades of grass, his tiny form nearly invisible. Zorro doesn't hesitate. The amusement is gone, replaced by a flash of predatory focus. He gives chase. The jungle floor trembles under his powerful strides. Faster and faster he runs, crashing through thick bushes with a sound like tearing fabric and leaping over fallen logs with effortless power. The gap closes. He can see the flicker of Tycho's tail just ahead. This is it. He stretches out a massive paw, claws extended. Absolutely certain that this time, the chase will end. But his paw hits nothing but air. Again, his momentum carries him forward. And with a jarring thud, he slams headfirst into the thick trunk of a banyan tree. The impact shakes the entire jungle awake. Birds burst from the branches in a panicked flurry, and monkeys chatter in alarm. Dazed, Zorro shakes his head, leaves and twigs clinging to his fur. There, perched on a high rock just out of reach, is Tycho. The little mouse is on his hind legs, and Zorro could swear he's laughing. Tycho even gives a jaunty little salute before twitching his nose. A low growl escapes Zorro's throat. It's no longer about hunger. His pride, his very identity as the jungle's apex predator, has been wounded. The chase explodes from a simple hunt into full-blown chaos. Fleas fly in every direction, kicked up by Zorro's frantic pursuit. More birds scatter, their cries adding to the cacophony. The once peaceful jungle transforms into a playground of speed and sound, a maelstrom of fur and fury. Zorro is a force of nature unleashed, but Tycho is a phantom. He zigs when Zorro zags, cues the environment with the skill of a master strategist. Zorro, blinded by rage, becomes clumsy. He slips on a patch of slick green moss, his legs flying out from under him. He tumbles down a short, steep slope, a rolling ball of frustration and fur, finally coming to a stop in a massive pile of dry, crackling leaves. As Zaro untangles himself, sputtering and covered in debris, he sees Tycho one last time. The mouse pauses at the edge of the clearing, just long enough to perform a theatrical, mocking bow. Then, with a final flick of his tail, he disappears into the undergrowth. For a long time, the jungle slowly settles back into its rhythm. Turds. The birds return to their branches, their nervous chirps gradually calming. The rustling of leaves subsides. Zaro stands alone in the quiet, breathing hard. His sides heave, and his mind is a whirlwind of confusion and pure, undiluted fury. He was bigger, stronger, faster. How could this happen? He scans the silent trees, the shadows, but there is no sign of the mouse. Somewhere nearby, hidden and safe, Tycho smiles. The jungle had seen many hunts, but today it had witnessed a performance. And the star of the show was the smallest creature of all, Bear. As the day grew hotter, the jungle air thick and heavy, Zaro's strategy began to change. The frantic, noisy pursuit was over. Now, a different kind of hunt began. He started to move with a quiet, deliberate grace, a predator stalking through the deep, dancing shadows cast by the canopy. Every flicker of a leaf, every rustle in the undergrowth, caught his eye. He was no longer just chasing. He was observing, learning, becoming a part of the jungle's silent rhythm. Tycho, ever perceptive, sensed this shift immediately. The atmosphere had changed. The frantic energy of the chase had been replaced by a tense, focused silence. He slowed his own pace, his small body alert, his ears twitching at the faintest sound that drifted through the trees. A snapped twig, the distant call of a bird, the hum of insects, he heard it all. But instead of fear, a strange and thrilling excitement began to bubble up inside him. This wasn't a chase for survival anymore. It had become a game, a battle of wits. A mischievous idea sparked in Tycho's mind. He knew this jungle far better than his pursuer. He knew its secrets, its traps, and its tricks. With a newfound confidence, he began to lead Zaro, not away from danger, but directly toward it. He guided the chase toward a very specific place, a narrow, almost hidden clearing, choked with a thick curtain of hanging vines that dangled from the ancient trees like tangled ropes. It looked like an ordinary part of the dense foliage, but Tycho knew better. Zaro, seeing Tycho seemingly cornered in the small clearing, felt a surge of triumph. The end was near. He stepped forward with unwavering confidence, his eyes fixed on his prize, ready to close the gap. He took one step, then another, into the curtain of green. That's when the jungle fought back. The vines, seemingly alive, wrapped around his legs, snaking and tightening with every movement. He stumbled, lost his balance, and crashed to the ground with a loud thud that echoed through the quiet clearing. The vines held him fast, and in his frantic effort to escape, he ended up completely entangled. Swinging helplessly upside down, suspended just a few feet from the jungle floor. Above him, a new scene was unfolding. Tycho, nimble and quick, had scampered up a sturdy branch that overlooked the entire clearing. He sat there, not as a creature on the run, but as a king on his throne. He surveyed the audience that had gathered, the curious birds, the chattering monkeys, the silent insects. Taking a deep breath, he addressed the jungle, his voice clear and surprisingly commanding. He was giving a speech, a royal proclamation to his subjects. He told the startled birds perched on the branches to relax their wings, for the clumsy hunter was no longer a threat. He called out to the monkeys, who were peering down with wide, curious eyes, and told them to enjoy the show, for it was a rare and amusing spectacle. And then He looked down at the struggling, upside-down figure of Zero, voice full of authority and a hint of amusement. He told the Great Cat that it was time to learn a valuable lesson about the jungle and its inhabitants. And the most amazing thing happened. It was as if the entire jungle was listening to Tycho's decree. The monkeys, who had been watching in silence, burst into raucous, hooting laughter. Brightly colored parrots, who had been quiet observers, the forests, which had been tense and watchful, was now alive with sound. But it wasn't the sound of fear. It was the sound of amusement. Down below, Zero finally managed to tear himself free from the clinging vines. He landed on the ground with a grunt, his fur disheveled, his dignity in tatters, who was embarrassed, and a fresh wave of anger surged through him. But as he stood there, catching his breath and shaking the leaves from his coat, he noticed something had fundamentally changed. The jungle was no longer silent for him. The quiet, watchful stillness he had learned to navigate was gone. Instead, it was filled with noise. It was laughing. The monkeys were laughing. The birds were laughing. And in the rustle of the leaves and the whisper of the wind, Zero